That's not the studio link.
Oh. This, right?
Yeah. Share. And now, okay.
All right.
Just
I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to
Copy it.
And I'm going to text it to you.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay. If anyone's found this.
So important. So good.
We're doing so well. I can't.
I'm just going to send it to your mom. That way it's in your text.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. And then also your mom has it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And now there's one less person. It's called 5-Year Puzzle Party Take 2. So sorry.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
All right. Let's see if anybody's on.
It's going to be me on first.
Okay. Great. Top chat. Oh, yeah, you can see.
I'm just watching.
All right.
Nobody's here yet.
I know, but they're going to find me like this.
Don't start until, I mean, you can start talking, but I'm just going to be.
Mm-hmm.
No, of course not.
Somebody's on.
It's me.
Great.
Gorgeous. Love.
What camera was it connected?
It was connected to the guy who did our
live stream. It like remembered that camera. That's annoying.
Yay!
Okay, somebody's here. Emily, yay.
Hey!
I'm just posting the link everywhere. It was Samori who filmed our live stream.
Incredible videographer.
Great videographer, used a different software and it was defaulting to his. So I'm just posting this link everywhere. Hello! Yay! I'm so glad you guys found us. I'm gonna delete the old. Is this the same link? Can you tell us? It's a different link.
I think it's a different link, but it's fine. We'll just repost to our Insta. Hi, everybody.
If people go to your YouTube and they refresh, they should see that you're live.
Yeah. I'm I'm saving publish original posts. We're doing so great. Hi. Okay, people are coming. Thank you so much. We love it. This is
you post on your story.
I posted on our story. I'm gonna just see the people saw technical difficulties, and my mom saw the new link. So
we actually texted Molly's mom the new link from Molly's laptop, so Molly had the link.
Hang on, she just said that new link is not working for me, but I know it's working for you guys. Mom,
it does work. So that's your mother, not the
use
not the link.
This link. Copy. Did any of you come via the link I posted on Instagram?
Let us know in the comments.
We can see the comments, so let us know. Well, wait. I know there's a 10-second delay or something.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think you can only comment if you're signed into YouTube too.
Oh, okay.
In general.
They said we're seeing a lot of Patreon link, but someone says Instagram, so yay!
Okay. I'm posting it once more.
Do you want me to test your Instagram one?
Yes.
Oh my god, Mel's watching us.
I just love that. I love all it's taken for us to get here to this today.
You know, much like a 5-year journey to establish a podcast community, sometimes it's a 5-minute journey to understand why your YouTube link isn't working.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking, Becca. Exactly what I was thinking.
Oh my god. So I'm gonna dump the puzzle. Are we okay with that?
Yes, dump the puzzle. And someone commented and said,
It worked.
It's working.
Okay.
1 second delay.
Okay. Great. Oh, YouTube in the live category. Oh, Shoshana, you found us. I saw you comment it's not working anymore, but you found us. Okay, here from Discord, and Mel is showing us ourselves on her phone.
So meta.
All right. We have a puzzle.
I'm going to post on Patreon once more as well, since that is also broken. 1 second, everyone.
You're doing great.
Use this link, not the other one. So I'm just going to keep an eye on my notifications We will not read the descriptions. Don't worry. The book is staying safely over here.
Yes, the booklet. Although I do want to point out some moments on the puzzle tamale on the live stream. Most notably, what's happening at the very bottom of the puzzle.
Oh my gosh! Our girl Louisa is jumping off a cliff.
Yes. No, a cob.
A cob. It's a cob.
It's a really small cob. And then on top here, I believe this might be Lizzie Bennett getting hot for landscaping.
Oh, it sure is.
And over down here, that seems to be Mr. Elton.
Saying, you're very good at painting.
Exactly.
Or whatever he says. It's a very nice tree.
And then over here we have...
Wickham?
I thought this was our boy Colonel Brandon being sad about...
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, that's
Marianne.
Marianne and Willoughby. And we won't look too carefully. You know?
Yes. No, I mean, a lot of this, like, doesn't make sense out of context. Like, the Cobb, how do you understand what's happening in the Cobb picture unless you've read Persuasion, you know?
I see we got a couple more questions on our Patreon post. I won't be able to add them into our document, but we'll circle back.
Someone asked if we see Jane Austen in the puzzle.
I do. She's here. Is that her? No, she's here at her writing desk.
Yeah, there she is.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's sitting at her writing desk. Okay, so there's a good number of you here now, so I think that people like hopefully found their way. If you have not, please find your way. Is that helpful?
Could you please just like find your way?
I can find my way. I can go the distance.
Maybe.
All right. I'm going to reply to this person and give her the new link. Try it again. Yay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So there's people here. I think we should just go ahead and start because why not? And again, we apologize for the delay in getting here. Becca is on it.
Yes.
I'm going to move this so that we can see it for reference.
Yes.
Do we want to just dump the pieces out and start separating them by...
Sure.
Great.
Are we ready, guys?
3, 2, 1.
Happy 5 years!
That would have been really cute if I had known what to do in you.
It's okay. It's okay. I followed an instinct in the moment.
Guys, my mom can see us, so it's all
Oh my gosh.
good.
Thank goodness.
All right, well, I'm going to pull up the questions, and we're going to start doing the puzzle and answering your questions. But before we start, should we repeat a little bit of the cute stuff we were saying before we went live?
Yeah, we were being really sweet about the fact that we've been putting out this podcast for 5 years. Neither one of us has been in the same job during that time. Neither one of us has been in the same apartment during that time. Neither one of us has been in the same relationship during that time. But we've been with Jane and each other that whole time.
Jane's been the constant through it all.
Yeah.
And each other. And you guys have seen us through so very many things.
So many weird takes and mistakes and interesting predictions.
Yes.
And we're just really grateful to be able to do this podcast and this puzzle with you guys.
It's really a puzzle of life, isn't it?
Well, it's a puzzle of Jane Austen and Jane Austen's life. So by transitive properties.
Football is life.
Danny Rojas.
Danny Rojas.
Yes, this podcast did see us both through our Ted Lasso phase.
This podcast saw the entirety of Ted Lasso.
That's true. We've lasted longer than Ted Lasso at this point in time.
Yeah. So who's impressive now?
Who's got the Emmy now?
Yeah. Mel's in the other room giggling at our jokes, which feels really good.
Yeah, we have a bit of a live audience.
I feel like I'm just listening to an episode of your podcast because you're behind the wall. So I'm just like, I'm just listening while I pack my clothes.
Little behind the scenes stuff, guys. Our podcast studio is in Molly's apartment. It's very beautiful. It's very well set up. And Mel often overhears us recording the podcast. So she often hears us making stupid jokes about Jane Austen.
Give a quick hello. Here's Mel.
There's
Hi,
Mel.
everybody. Happy 5 years.
Yay!
We also, before we begin this puzzle, we should talk. We've never done a puzzle together, so we might have different methods of going about it.
My method is to first just
Flip
get
everything over.
to flip everything over, and I also like to get to the edges.
Yeah, like I'm pulling all the edge pieces to the side.
and I do kind of like vaguely like to figure out where in the puzzle the edge piece is. So, for example, where is dark blue edge?
Any
Gosh.
comments? Can you ask if there's anybody who doesn't do the edges first? Because
That's crazy.
I feel like it's crazy, but it's also like so impressive. Like pro
Okay.
puzzlers are probably like.
Does anyone not do the edges first?
I have an aunt who I have another corner. I have an aunt who does puzzles upside down. So
Wow.
That's wild. This is bottom left.
and the corner is yes, and so this is top right corner.
Okay, great. So that should.
Oh, so we might just be doing the puzzle differently because I'm doing it facing me and you're doing it facing you.
Okay, let's.
There we go.
I'll do it.
There
can
we
do it.
go.
I'll do it sideways. I'll take one for the team. Oh, Claudia, Klausler Lopu does their puzzles from the inside out.
Wow.
There have been puzzles where I did not do the border first. I think it was a Jane Austen Pope puzzle.
Oh
Wow.
my, that
Very
is
impressive.
very impressive. I do like a puzzle like this though, because I'm not like a particularly awesome puzzler. So I like something that has a lot of texture and color to it, so you can figure out where things are.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, I am lost.
yeah.
But I do have a little sister who does enjoy making puzzles really difficult for herself as well. Oh, got more sky.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. So shall we start with the questions, everyone?
We shall.
I'm also gonna turn my sound on my phone in case anyone like emails and is like, I'm having trouble. But hopefully that won't happen.
I'd like to file an official complaint with the Pot of Prejudice tech team.
Yes, with the tech team, which is
Yep.
me on my different apps on my phone.
Y'all, Molly was stressed when we couldn't figure out the tech situation.
I was like, oh my god, they're gonna be so mad at us, and you guys are like patiently waiting. They're like,
hi guys, trying to figure out the tech.
Anyway, I have this complex where like everyone hates me. I know you don't. You don't need to tell me. Okay. Shall we talk about the future of Pride and Prejudice?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it.
So a lot of you asked questions about our future, and I don't know that we'll be able to answer all of them because a lot of them we haven't even like discussed with each other. But let's have conversations.
Let's have an open dialogue.
Yeah, we're gonna have a dialogue. So several of you asked, and I'm not gonna name everyone because it was a lot of you. When we're done with Austen's works, what might we do next? For example, the Brontes, Gaskell, or if we were gonna do a podcast about another series or author, contemporary or otherwise,
Mhm.
who would that be about? So this is kind of two questions merged together. Like one, what's next, but also two, if we were dreaming big.
That's a good question. The obvious through line would probably be the Brontes because that's another set of books I have pretty much read and Molly pretty much has not. And there is a large overlap in the Bronte fandom and the Jane Austen fandom. The Brontes are the goth Jane Austen fandom.
Like on the cob.
Yeah, but I think at this, well, that's why I said this is a Bronte book
Right.
now. But I think from my perspective, this is a corner piece. I would say we have a lot of Jane Austen to get through still. And given that it has taken us 5 years to get through 3.5 books, I think before we move on from Jane, we probably want to focus more on Jane for a little while and see where we're at in like the next 5 years.
Sure.
Because from there, we might have some good decisions to make in terms of what to do next. But Molly and I are both ladies of broad taste. We're both enthusiastic. And so it would just probably, if we were going to do another podcast post Jane Austen world, it would be, we'd have a lot of options of things to talk about.
Yeah, well, I think that actually it begs the question, like, it would be different if it was a continuation of Pride and Prejudice, because that would definitely stay within the world of Austen and like her contemporaries.
Yeah.
Or if it was a different podcast entirely, which actually brings us into another question that people asked. What other topics could we imagine doing a podcast about?
Oh, what podcasts couldn't we do? Probably like sports.
We definitely couldn't do a sports podcast.
I know more about sports than you, but I don't know enough to podcast.
I'm
about
learning. I mean, I think that could be kind of fun, actually, if it was like a podcast where it was about a sport that like
neither one of us knew very well.
either neither one of us knew very well, or like we taught each other about things that I don't know.
We're nerdy about a lot of things. If we wanted to continue in the vein of sort of taking a more down to earth stance on sort of highfalutin English, where we could definitely do a Shakespeare podcast.
Oh my god, that would be so nerdy.
Because we're both massive Shakespeare nerds.
I've actually had an idea for a podcast. I'm like almost hesitant to put it into the ether because I don't want to promise anything that I can't follow through on. But maybe I will, just for you guys and for the YouTube, which is a podcast where, like, whether this was alone or with Becca or with other people, like rereading books that I read as a kid.
Oh, you know what? We have talked about doing
Yeah,
that.
we've talked about this, and I literally reread Walk Two Moons for this purpose. And
I loved Walk Two Moons. It's
this
so
is how
sad.
we started talking about it. We were like, Walk Two Moons is actually an incredibly deep and gorgeous book that deals with very complex themes for the people whose like age group it's meant for.
Yeah.
And like reading it as an adult, I was like, holy shit, I could write a fucking dissertation on this.
Does this book hold up, basically?
Yeah, well, does this book hold up? Or like, in my mind, it was like the conversations / essays we would write about these books if we were reading like that the essay I wish I wrote about this when I was in 4th grade reading it for the first time.
I'd be very fascinated to revisit Eva Ibbotson, because that lady was a big part of my childhood, and yet is like she's a very strange fantasy novelist. So I'd be interested to see how I'd feel about her works nowadays.
Yeah. People like our Shakespeare idea.
Ooh.
My mom just texted me to let me know. Thank you, Mom. So that actually, okay, so we have another question about other podcasts we were due.
Okay.
If our roles were reversed and it was something I know a ton about that you don't, what would the podcast be about? And a lot of you asked this one as well, which is why I'm not giving shout outs.
You know, 5 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I watched Gilmore Girls for the first time, and I wish I hadn't, because I think that would have been perfect.
That would have been it.
But in these days and age, there are things. I think you could get me into Bake Off.
Guys, okay, wait. This is just a really good segue. I broke your questions down into like subject matter, but we have to skip ahead because someone did ask who I'm rooting for in Bake Off. I believe it was Caitlin. I don't want to give any spoilers, but the person I was most excited about did go home.
I'm
not saying who it was.
So now it's only if you're in the know, you know the answer.
Did go home in the most recent episode, in yesterday's episode, or 2 days ago's episode. But now my top choice is Nellie. I'm obsessed with Nellie.
Which is a spoiler to say Nellie didn't go home.
Nellie has not gone home yet. Listen, she's perfect. They can't send her home.
Oh boy.
Nellie's this like Slovakian mom who just loves her husband, and she's always like, this is for my husband. He's the best husband in the world. And she's really sweet, and she jokes with Noel, and when she messes up, she like winks at the camera. Like she just like does it right, in my opinion. And I won't tell you who went home because I'm really I sobbed. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. That would be a great podcast for us to do.
Because that's like, if I'm thinking about things that I've never touched that you're into, that's what immediately jumped to mind. I think I've seen one episode like 10 years ago at this point.
Same to me.
I know.
I remember, everyone remembers where they were their first time they watched Bake Off, and mine was...
I don't.
Mine was when I came back to the city in the middle of the pandemic to move my stuff out of my New York apartment.
Oh, yeah, that's a good time to watch Bake Off.
Yeah, and I had just like parked my car in the hotel parking lot, and all my stuff, like my entire life, was in the back of this garage. And I went up to my hotel room and I ordered myself so much food and like a chocolate bundt cake, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And I just was like, everyone talks about Bake Off. I'll start that. And it was perfect. And I watched like 6 episodes in a row.
That'll do it. That's like the time.
Yeah. Okay. Back to our questions. I'm scrolling back up. Okay, if you could have anyone as a guest on the podcast, Who would it be? Anyone.
Oh, that's a good question. I think I would love to have Jennifer Ely on the podcast if I could have anybody on the podcast. Obviously, Colin Firth is cool and everything, but like, even though we talk a lot about the dreamboat behavior of the men in Jane Austen novels, the novels are about the women, and Elizabeth Bennet is arguably the most iconic protagonist of the novels, and Jennifer Ely gives the most iconic performance of Lizzie Bennet. So I would love to hear what it was like bringing that level of wit to life.
I think I would be too
fangirly.
I would be too stressed.
We were pretty stressed when we had Ashley on from Lizzie Bennet.
Yeah, so like if that stressed me out, like can you imagine?
Much love to Ashley, she's great.
She's great. I would be so panicky if we had Jennifer Ely on the podcast, and I think it would just like be too stressed. But gosh, if I could have anyone,
I take it back.
Who would you have?
Emma Thompson.
Oh my God.
I think she'd get a little drunk with us, and I think I would freak out, but I think it'd be worth it.
It would definitely be worth it. Also, like, she's just so delightful.
Have you listened to her episode of My Dad Wrote a Porno?
I haven't listened to most of My Dad Wrote a Porno. That's one that would be fun. I mean,
I went through a podcast about a podcast.
We can't do a podcast about podcasts.
But it's extraordinary. It's true literature.
Yeah, that's one that Becca loves that I haven't really gotten into.
Love that podcast. And she's iconic on it because she also loves it.
Yeah, I think she would definitely be a really good one. I'm trying to think of like someone more attainable, not because I want to like be attainable.
If you could have anyone.
But I'm having a hard time picturing myself talking to these people.
I'm driving.
Oh no, Milo will say feasty feast.
No, Milo.
I would die of happiness if Emma Thompson came on the pod. Me too. A 202 with Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet. Okay, if Kate Winslet came on the pod, all right, if we could have anyone on the pod, probably Kate Winslet because
you don't think you'd have as much of a mental breakdown?
No, I think I would have more of a mental breakdown.
Oh my God.
I love them both. We're having them both on. I'm having a hard time conceptualizing it.
You're not even thinking about these people coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I love.
Okay, so moving on because this question is stressing me out preemptively. Okay, so we have a couple questions about things we will watch.
Yeah.
Generally, the answer is probably.
Yeah. We've been focusing a lot on the books because, here's the thing. In case you guys didn't notice from our coverage of Emma has 8 billion adaptations. So it took us a while to get through all of Emma. And we were like, what happens is when we do the movie stuff, we love it. We have a great time. But then by the time we get to sort of a certain point, we get hungry to get back into a book. Obviously, there is a limited supply of books. So eventually it's going to become, more important for us to just continue to do movie stuff. But we get to a point where we're like, we really want to just like read another Jane Austen novel.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean we're not going to do the other adaptations and everything. We just really enjoy the like original material, I think.
Yeah. Like we were asked about the 2022 Netflix Persuasion. Yes, we're going to watch it.
We will absolutely be covering that.
Which I was yesterday years old when I learned, this is so embarrassing, when I learned that Dakota Johnson was in 50 Shades of Grey.
What did you think she was in?
What did you think she was from?
I only knew her from the Peanut Butter Falcon movie with Shia LaBeouf, and then Am I Okay?
Yeah.
That we just watched, and what else have I seen her in? I don't know.
I don't know. I literally
50 Shades of Grey was like her big.
Dakota Johnson
That's like her
from
big
50 Shades of Grey.
I saw her in this like very pure coming of age tale where she like went on a quest.
I get the sense from her and Jamie Dornan that neither one of them quite enjoyed doing that, unfortunately. But they did in fact do it.
They did, and it happened. So we'll watch that. Liliana asks if Lost in Austen is on our watch list.
You know, I've seen it, and so it probably could be on our watch list. It would have to, I think it'd be farther down the line.
Yeah, that's one for
because
like when we're done.
without giving too much away about it, it really does get into sort of like the more fanficky Austen world, and that like the more like, without spoiling anything, the more like fantasy stuff, like the like playing with the characters in different ways. I think we'll save those till a little later. There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is from Sarah Superstar. Which of Jane Austen's books that we haven't gotten to yet are we really looking forward to?
Ooh, okay. I am excited to get to Mansfield Park because it's been a long time since I've read it, and it's a little different than the rest of Austen's work. And I am excited to see how that translates into our podcast discussions.
Okay. Also, comment says Lost in Austen can be very low on the priority list. I'd be fine with that. I'm also excited for Mansfield Park because Becca's read that one, and that will feel like going back to, like.
Did we move it sideways or no?
Shit. No, that. Oh fuck. Yeah. Sorry. It's facing Becca, but I'm confused by it. So.
It's totally fine. Let me just.
The table is. Well, it's a square. I think it's a square.
Yeah, I mean, we could sit on the same. It's a rectangle, but we could sit on the same side.
I'm not reading the descriptions. I promise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it makes sense to have it facing you.
Yeah.
There's all of this on the side that we didn't actually know about.
Yeah, there's clearly in my mind here, like I'm very confused because there's clearly Frank Churchill carrying Harriet. There it is.
Austenland is another one. That is like another fanficky kind of.
Falls in the same category. Death Comes to Pemberley is another one that we'll certainly cover, and that one I haven't actually read, but I've heard great things about.
And I'm excited for Northanger Abbey. We're bopping between two questions. I am excited for Northanger Abbey because I know a lot of you are really excited for Northanger Abbey.
I'm excited for that one because I had such a good time reading Persuasion for the first time.
Aww.
Like, it was really fun. And like fresh in my brain.
Do you want to answer this or keep it a surprise for
now? We got to ask what the next book is. You'll find out. You need to confirm or deny.
Yeah, you guys know we like to. Oh wow, Becca's on a roll over here.
I assuredly am not, but I got lucky with like a chunk.
Okay, so I think that's all on the future of the pod for now. But well, there's more questions and many more subjects.
Yes.
About us. This is the About Us section.
About us?
A couple people, Zico Hedgie and Abby Chandler, asked, how did we and our partners meet?
Ooh, we have the same answer.
We have the same answer.
Bumble.
Sponsor us.
Yeah. I met Mike, actually like 4 or 5 months into doing the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'd gotten out of a situationship with somebody else, and I was going on a lot of dates at the time. And Mike and I had a little conversation about The Lion King in the app. And if you want me to be candid, we had a discussion of which has more implied incest in it, The Lion King 1 or The Lion King 2.
And what's the answer?
Well, we have a debate on it because I think it's Lion King 1 and he thinks it's Lion King 2.
What do you guys think?
Well, that's why I'm asking. It's a long debate in our relationship. And then we got very, very close during the pandemic and have been together ever since.
And I had kind of given up on dating because I had been dating someone who sucked a little bit. And that ended. And then I took a couple months off. But like the night that it ended, I downloaded, or like a couple days later, I had downloaded Bumble. And my friend was visiting me and we were like swiping.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like, the other thing is, this is so stupid, but I deleted all the phone games from my phone when
So you swiped for fun?
Yeah, it was my way of getting over an addiction to a certain game on my iPhone.
That's a good. It's a good way to get over it.
Yeah.
If you can't debate about incestuous cartoons, are you even in love? That's so true.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had downloaded Bumble very briefly, was swiping, and then I was like, this just doesn't feel right for me right now. So this was in like November of 2021. 2021? Huh? 2021?
2021.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I deleted it again. I was like, I need to be single. And I was single for like 3 months and had a great time. And then I re-downloaded Bumble one night when I was really bored, and it was like 1 a.m. and I was watching Lord of the Rings. And
With me?
I was by myself.
Are you sure? Oh,
Yeah, I was baking cookies.
Okay.
You were watching it. Okay, we watched the first one
Yeah,
together.
that's what happened.
Yes,
That's what happened.
We watched the first one together on New Year's Eve.
Yes, and then you moved out.
I moved out, and then I watched the second one like 22 days later, if we're being exact. And I lived above a bar, so it was really loud. So I was like staying up late trying to make myself fall asleep by baking cookies and watching Lord of the Rings. So I was watching Two Towers. Two Towers is the second one?
Yep.
And I matched with Mel, who just walked by, and she's never awake that late. And she happened to be awake, and she had what?
I had a show that
She had a show that night, so she was awake. And she had swiped right on me in November and then forgotten about it. And then I swiped right on her when I downloaded the app. And so we matched immediately, and she messaged me, and we were like talking about music and specifically High School Musical and Olivia Rodrigo and Brandy Carlisle. We were talking about those three things, which is very indicative of who we are as people. And then she was like, well, I'm going to sleep, but do you want to get coffee tomorrow? And I was like, okay. And then that was it.
Yep.
12 hours later.
Pro tip for using the dating apps in my brain is if you're going to use Bumble, don't use it to get to know someone over the course of months.
Yeah.
Use it as an excuse to have a cute little conversation with someone like you would at a bar, and then ask them out if you think you might enjoy spending time with them.
Exactly. So that's our pitch for Bumble to sponsor us.
Yes.
So let them know.
Bumble, if you want to come on this podcast.
Yeah, CEO of Bumble.
Yeah. You guys got successful relationship Bumble merch. We didn't get it.
You have to spend like an hour on a survey.
No,
I literally
definitely not.
went through answering like 50 questions about our relationship and uploading photos to this Bumble survey. And then they were like, a couple months later, they sent me a package and they were like, thanks so much for participating in the survey. And they sent us 2 giant Bumble sweatshirts, 2 Bumble hats, tote bags, water bottles, and a disposable yellow camera. So yeah, it was worth it. Okay, so how did we become friends, and how did we decide to host this podcast?
That's a great question. I think we've talked about it before, but we became friends in college. I'm 2 years older school-wise than Molly, and I was abroad her first semester of college. I got back, and we were at a party together, and Molly came up to me and said, I've heard we're going to be friends. And then we were
the rest
friends.
is history.
We did a lot of plays together the next year as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we were in basically everything together.
Yeah, we were in a ton of plays together. And then we ended up in a play together that summer.
Oh yeah, we did
Yep,
this summer theater thing, and we
and then
lived together.
Yes, we did.
We lived together that summer, and that like kind of solidified our friendship.
And then when Molly graduated, she moved to the city, and she knew I was nearby, and we were kind of chatting, and we both had like an itch.
We were having a wine night,
and we were like, we are both kind of bored and like missing creative stuff. And we were like, well, what could we do that would be creative, that would like suit us? And we were like, what if we did a podcast? And we were like, well, if we want to do a podcast, we want to do something like that'll be genuinely entertaining to people.
Mm-hmm. We thought about doing a Harry Potter podcast.
We decided that market was slightly oversaturated.
It was oversaturated. Like we literally came up with so many ideas for a Harry Potter podcast, and we were like, every single one of these is already done. Been doing.
And been done. It's
already happening.
So then we were like, well, it'll come to us. And then I found out that Molly had never read a single Jane Austen novel.
And I think you texted me, is that the pod?
And I was like, is this the podcast? Are we going to just talk about Jane Austen? And we've been here talking about Jane Austen ever since.
Yeah. I remember where I was. I was at work,
Mm-hmm.
and I started doodling little sketches for our logo.
Mhm.
I was like, Pride and Prejudice, like what could it be? And that's how that.
Yeah. Although I think I can take credit for the name.
The name was entirely Becca. And also the logo was not me either. I just had to, but I had to come up with ideas to send to our friend Torrance, who designed our logo for us.
Yes, who's
So
very
that's-
talented.
Yes. That's where that came from. No, the name is entirely Becca.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our friendship story.
Yeah, so we've been in love ever since.
And then we are in love.
We are in love.
Okay. I love this question. I wrote down everybody's Instagram handles, but I haven't been saying them because some of them are harder to say. Marquetta Strenad.
You decided to try that one?
Maybe not. Maybe I'll just we'll do it as we feel. Okay. If our lives were if our lives were TV series, what would be the theme songs, and also what would be the theme songs for each of the Jane Austen novels that we've read?
That's such a good question.
We're gonna have to think about this.
Yeah, my theme song would be, I feel like One Girl Revolution, maybe, because I'm like constantly moving in different like work streams, either professionally, wedding planning, the podcast. So I feel like that would be me, maybe.
That's a good one. This is a hard question. If my life were a TV show, my theme song would be
What's the
Can you
question?
help me?
What's the question?
If my life were a theme song, if my life were a TV show, what would the theme song be? I'm like blanking on every song I've ever known.
Like a real song?
Yeah.
If your life were a TV show,
Because I could
Right,
just
you
go like,
want-
do.
okay, yeah,
Just go on.
okay, if your life were a TV show,
Yeah.
the theme song would be give me like 2 minutes.
Move to another question.
Okay.
Okay,
we're gonna think about this.
well, let's talk about the Pride and Prejudice.
Sense and Sensibility, Emma, and
Mhm.
Persuasion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open up Spotify. I feel like that'll be really helpful to me right
Yeah,
now.
I feel like the first one that jumped to mind was Sense and Sensibility, because I thought of So Far Away by Carole King.
That is, it's true. It's definitely true. That's a good one.
For Emma, it's something much perkier.
I feel like Emma is like, I don't know why, but this is like such a good theme song. It's a perfect
Well,
day.
I had the same instinct for myself, like, because I'm a lawyer, I'm a blonde lawyer. But you're right, it does have that sort of Emma Woodhouse air of like
everything's
chipper.
fine.
Everything's chipper and perfect because she has no drama in any of her life.
Yeah.
Your theme song would be what is it? Is it Happy Dog?
Oh my God. Mel said that my theme song is happy dog. I'm a happy dog. I'm a happy dog.
I mean, find the lie. There's no lie.
Yep.
That's a good one. Okay. Pride and Prejudice. Something that is like enemies to lovers.
And enemies to lovers.
Did I say enemies to lovers?
You did say enemies.
Enemies.
Strangers to lovers to enemies. Oh, so sad.
That's a little
That's
different.
the reverse.
That's a little different.
That's watching Pride and Prejudice backwards.
It's I thought of Why Can't I from the early 2000s.
Why
That's fair.
can't I breathe whenever I think about? That's good because she's in denial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or something about I don't know, maybe if we wanted to go sad on it, would be Darcy is like Little Lion Man by Mumford and Sons. That's like the quintessential I'm sorry boy song.
Yeah.
Old
And
boy
then-
song.
And I meant for the one that we're reading right now, I'm going to Anne Elliott's Sad Girl playlist, lovingly made for us by our patrons.
I still feel like Someone came up with something really fucked up on this. Like it hurt my feelings. I don't remember what it was.
Well, you came up with the wedding song.
By Renee Rapp.
Yeah. So that hurt my feelings.
That one hurt my feelings as well.
I think that You Learn is a good one because it like has like an upbeat energy to what is otherwise a very sad situation.
Mm-hmm.
Though like up to this point, I feel like it's probably more like Happier by Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, yeah.
And then have we done them all?
I think we did.
But I feel like this is such. Oh, you can find this playlist. It's on Spotify. We'll post it.
Yes, it's an incredible playlist. The Anna Elliott Sad Girl playlist is great, and I feel like we need to work better on our Wentworth Revenge playlist.
Yes.
Because Wentworth really went ahead. Oh, the song You Lost the Breakup by Macy Peters.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mel's going to help with the puzzle while I'm having a hard time multitasking.
Yes, it's totally fine.
Okay.
I'm being very patient. And just kind of like piecing things together gently, but it's probably not the most helpful to Molly.
So speaking of puzzles, a couple people asked us what our favorite board games are.
Ooh, okay. Here's what I'm going to do while we're doing this. I'm going to put the non-edge pieces in the box. So
very smart. We can at least get the outlines.
That's a good question. Shouts to our friend Sequoia from Fanatical Fixing Where to Find Them and Make It Scary. She has opened my mind to so many different board games, as has my friend Greer, who just got married. That's the one we were at. And there's one Greer had us play that was so funny, where you had to guess. Like you had a word on a card and you had like a whiteboard and you had to draw something on the whiteboard and then you turn to the next person over and they have to like erase your drawing and draw what they think it is.
Oh my God. I love that.
And it's like a game of telephone but through Pictionary. It was really fun.
You dropped a piece.
Oh God, I'm the worst. I do this with popcorn too.
Me too. Speaking of games like that, there's a game called Just One, where everyone has a little whiteboard and there's a card and the person who's going to be guessing can't see the card and they say a number and the number corresponds to a word on the card. And then everybody else in the group writes down a one-word hint. Good job, Mel. Writes down a one-word hint for that word. And then if anybody's matches, they have to erase it and they don't get to play that round. And all the individual words get turned around and the person guessing has to guess one guess. And it's just one word. And that's how Just One works. And I love that game. But I think my favorite board game...
Oh, we do enjoy Celebrity too.
Is that
that's a
game?
That's like a fishbowl.
I guess this is... Neither of what we just said were board games either.
Mine was a board game though because it came with a board.
Oh, okay. Ours doesn't come with a board. Does... I mean, Cats. Isle of Cats.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Isle of Cats. Have we played Encore? No.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I have, but I don't remember anything about it except the name.
Nice.
This is the problem. I always have a good time playing board games, and I never remember a single thing about them after I play. It gets mind erased except the fun times.
Incredible. Okay. What... Pasta Thursdays asks, what are the best things about fall in NYC? I love New York in the fall.
It's the best season to be in New York by far, for those of you who are not from the city, for a couple of reasons. One, winter is slush central and it's terrible, and kind of like just cold and bitter and miserable. The spring is nice, but it's very pollinated. The summer is way too hot and you want to be outside of the city at the beach and not where it smells like rotting garbage. So the fall is the best part of time, best part of New York City. The foliage is gorgeous.
Foliage.
The pumpkin spice lattes are fun.
The best part about fall in New York City is taking little weekend trips away from New York City. and going, I love it.
I don't know. I really enjoy walking the park in the fall.
Oh yeah, we did go for a lovely run in the park the other day.
It's really like we both live near a park.
A park.
Park.
Not
And
doxing ourselves.
we like it's just a really lovely experience. The foliage is gorgeous, and like you can get like a warm drink. It's a perfect temperature, and it's just like it's really the nicest time of year to be in the city.
Yeah, I do love pretending to be Meg Ryan.
Yes, every single time I walk through New York City in the fall, I pretend I'm in When Harry Met Sally.
Found a corner piece.
Yes, that's our last corner piece.
Yep.
Yes.
Except I think it's this corner piece, and then whatever.
This corner actually lives at top
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's top right is
But we have bottom left here.
is where it is.
I mean,
this
bottom
is,
left, bottom
it's
right.
facing this way.
Yep.
Like you're upside
Like
down.
Becca's doing it.
No,
from
yeah,
her perspective.
she's got it right.
Yeah.
She's got it right.
And that goes right there. So
Progress.
I do love New York in the fall. I love brownstones and foliage next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I love getting myself a little treat. I love
The
going
treats
outside
are
with a
so
light
good.
jacket.
Yes.
Like I don't love getting bundled up and then going down into the subway and melting my face off. So like light jacket weather is perfect because you're like not fully.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the July in the subways, fun fact, is actually the seventh circle of hell.
Yes.
Like it's not even just like metaphoric.
I
like
got
that, it
so
actually
angry.
is that.
I was angry for a full month. Someone just messaged our Discord and said we should watch You've Got Mail as an Austen referencing work, and I agree.
I agree with that entirely. Yes. What a piece of art. What also a time capsule on a specific era of technology.
Don't you just love New York in the fall? Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, I do.
Back when Barnes and Noble was truly the biggest corporate enemy.
Okay. How is wedding planning going?
It's good. For those of you who have planned a wedding, you can relate that it is a really interesting experience. But I think we're really happy with like the plan. It's going to be very nice. Molly's invited. Mel's invited.
Thank you.
They already got their save the dates.
Thanks for
It's
inviting
on the
us.
fridge.
Of
It is
course.
on our fridge.
Um,
And on the save the date, on the corner, Doc is the stamp. So
yeah, Doc is very important to our relationship and us as parents. And yeah, it's man, it's just like it's like a lot of like the families. So it's one of those things where it's like I think we're both like really excited to be married and excited for our wedding day, but planning a wedding is just like an exercise in spending money and emotional labor. So we're working on that now, but you know, honestly, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun as a party.
I agree that it's going to be fun. Our friend Allison asks what I'm wearing to your wedding, and that's a good question. I think I still have some time to figure that out. But to tell a different story about a different wedding we're going to. So a while ago we were going to a wedding and I bought this like lovely pink jumpsuit, but then like a week before the wedding, someone was like, I think that's cream. And I was like, fuck. And I literally had a full-on mental breakdown and then like tried on every one of Mel's outfits that she's ever owned. And then we ended up texting the bride and being like, what do you think about this? Is it pink or is it cream? And she was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, wear what you want. And it was like cream based, but had pink flowers all over it. And it wasn't really bridal. Good night to the person who's leaving, Shoshana. And now for the cream.
Now for the cream. That's a good callback.
Good callback. Anyway, so long story short, I did wear the jumpsuit to that wedding, and then I wore it to another wedding where the bride didn't care. And now our two male friends are getting married, and I don't have to worry about it at all. So I'm gonna rewear it. Anyway,
The lesson is only go to weddings where it's two men getting married.
exactly.
Ever.
The lesson is always check with the bride if there is one, if you're concerned about the color of your outfit.
Mhm.
But I don't know what I'm wearing to Becca's yet.
You have time.
I have time. Okay. Caitlin asks, Oh, wait, I already asked that one. Bake Off. Okay, Abby asks, what is our favorite non-Austen novel?
I think I've said this before, but I'm deep into Wuthering Heights, which has gotten mixed reactions from this crowd. I love that one. I think it's a really, really interesting. I think it gets devalued as a love story when Emily Bronte had a lot more interesting things to say about the world than just a love story. And I am in high anticipation of what will be probably a terrible movie that Emerald Fennell is making as an adaptation of it. For those who are Wuthering Heights fans, they cast Jacob Elordi as Heathcliff, and I was nonplussed.
Does nonplussed mean good or bad?
It's bad.
Oh.
Well, surprised, essentially. But I was unpleasantly surprised by that casting choice. And then they cast Margot Robbie as Catherine, and that seems crazy to me. Again, a terrible casting. So I was really excited because I think Emerald Fennell's like style is one. Kate Bush, yes.
Is Kate Bush like
she wrote a great crazy song about Wuthering Heights, where and the music video is just her dancing in. Mel really
sat down
doing all the work on the puzzle right
5
now.
minutes and already has an entire edge.
Yeah, there it is. There you go.
Kate Bush's song about Wuthering Heights. The music video is just her standing in a giant bright red ball gown. That's kind of like 70s hippie chic. On a hill and just kind of like doing swooshies with her arms.
Understood.
Zach Cohn and I used to talk about that a lot. Yeah.
And my favorite non-Austen book for a long time, like growing up, it was The Phantom Tollbooth, because I love
that's a great book.
Meta theatrics. And I think now it's probably Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune.
That's a good book.
It's a good book. I'm rereading House in the Cerulean Sea right now in preparation for Somewhere Beyond the Sea.
I'm very excited for Somewhere Beyond the Sea. Yeah, but I think both of us love a lot of books. I'm also really partial to Gentleman in Moscow and Vanishing Half.
The Vanishing Half is
Vanishing
great.
Half is stunning.
It was stunning, but like the way that Under the Whispering Door stuck with me, and I've read it 3 times.
Yeah, I guess
I don't
sometimes
do that
books just
usually.
speak to you, and like you know that like when you're like, oh, now this is my favorite book.
Right.
Now.
You know it. When you know, you know.
Yeah.
And what are our favorite recent non-Austen reads?
Well, we just said a couple, but
but I haven't read
yeah.
Under the Whispering Door recently. That's just my favorite. So like, what have you read recently that you like?
I've been reading a lot of really depressing fiction. I mean, nonfiction. I do a lot of like geopolitical, foreign policy, global reads, which are no fun for anybody. But I do really, I did just because I went on Mike Schubert's Newest Olympian podcast, and like had to reread The Last Hero. I did read the entire Heroes of Olympus series recently, and that was fun. They were fun.
She gave me a little rundown because we went to his live show and I hadn't read them, and I was like, oh, these sound really good. So maybe
it was fun. They were a good time. And what else have I been reading recently that's been interesting? Yeah, nothing immediately comes to mind. I did read How to Say Babylon by Sophia Sinclair, her memoir. It's gorgeous. She's like, there's a reason why she's like the poet of a generation. Which, if you guys don't know, it's about Sophia Sinclair wrote about her childhood growing up in Jamaica with a Rastafarian father and his strict beliefs, and how she dealt with that as a young woman, like growing into herself. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous book.
And I talked on the podcast a little bit about getting into like murder mysteries. So I won't talk too much about that, but I just read Funny Story, and that's my favorite Emily Henry, I think. And for a long time, Beach Read was my favorite Emily Henry.
Which is right there.
I do enjoy me some mildly predictable romance. Anyway, Funny Story is very good if you're looking to just like turn your brain off and have a cute little
yes
story.
And Molly and I are similar in that we both love like really like highfalutin stuff, but also the stuff that might not be considered so highfalutin.
Yeah.
So
also Here We Go Again by Alison Cochrane. You all know that I love Alison Cochrane. of like Kiss Her Once for Me
And Charm Offensive.
and The Charm Offensive. She came out with a road trip romance called Here We Go Again, which I highly recommend. Funny Story is lovely. I'm only seeing we see the comments coming in and I'm like reading them.
Yep.
If Becca's talking,
I
I'm
don't-
going like this.
I don't think anybody is prepared if we did cover Wuthering Heights on the podcast for the level of hot take that I would be bringing to it and the level of I will die on this hill I would be bringing to it. But yeah.
Oh, these go down here.
Oh, is it this? No.
Okay.
Oh my god, it is that. Whoa.
All right, let's talk about Austen now.
Okay,
Okay, so
I'm ready.
so we have some questions about series that are out like now or like news that's recently come out. So Sammy McFall asks, what are your thoughts on the new Netflix Pride and Prejudice series news? I'm not sure that I know which one this is.
I think I saw it, and I have a memory of really liking the decision about who they were casting as Lizzie. So let me refresh my recollection on what that was.
I just found the exact piece I needed in the giant
Hang on.
pile of pieces.
Wow.
That was a liberating moment.
Liberating.
I didn't use that right. That's not the right usage of liberating, but it felt wonderful.
While Becca looks that up, Emily Dresbach asks, thoughts on the new BBC Pride and Prejudice series about Mary. A lot of you have been sending this to us. I haven't read a ton of the articles, but I'm always excited for more spin-offs. So if it's from Mary's perspective, like, fuck yeah, give it to me.
Okay, yeah, it's looking promising. Insofar as the person producing it was the Gentleman Jack producer.
Oh, and that's the one about Anne.
We discussed her. Gentleman Jack is like
They wrote about her in the Women of
Why She Wrote.
Why She Wrote.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and that would be Bonnets at Dawn.
Bonnets at Dawn. Shouts to them.
It's
So we're excited about that.
So yeah, I mean the answer is if you can't tell that we haven't done a deep dive on the casting news yet, but I recall seeing a rumor about who was getting cast as Lizzie. I can't find it now. I'm thinking it was a good pick.
One of you probably knows. You can send it in the chat. We'll see.
Yes.
Conjure Kite asks if we've seen Ben Fensom on TikTok. Is that the guy who does the videos where he's like, oh, but he's just like wearing a bonnet and that's it. And then anyway, he's very funny.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I love a man on a bonnet.
Yes, we have seen. We get sent it, so we've seen it.
Yes.
He's very funny, and yes, would love to have him on the pod.
Forge, if you want to come on this podcast. I think
so.
so. Yes.
Woo!
MVP of this puzzle is for sure Mel.
Mel is doing all the work, but it's okay.
It's okay. You're also doing work.
Okay, Caitlin asks, who would we ship if all the characters we've met so far were thrown together? For example, Lady Catherine de Bourgh and Sir Walter.
Oh God.
They would be so insufferable, and I'm upset that that was thrown into the
Yeah. Oh boy. That's a good question. I think. Yes. I mean, it'd be Lucy Steele and Wickham.
They deserve each other.
Well, I think Lucy Steele probably deserves better than Wickham, but the level of scheme on both of them is they both know how to get their bag.
Right.
Molly, I think this is a different boat.
No, I know it does not go there. I was just testing. I was just testing you. Ben Fensom is hysterical. Yes. Daisy Edgar Jones for Netflix was.
That's it. I thought that was great casting. I thought she's a good choice. She has that sort of ethereal wit to her. So I thought she was a good pick for Lizzie. It's the girl from Normal People.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, she's very good.
Does this go?
It could potentially. Yes.
And I think that I'm trying to think of like people who like aren't perfectly matched already. Like who could, for example, like who ends up single? You know what I want? I want Miss Bates to have a beautiful love affair with what I'm thinking doesn't really make sense, but I'm gonna say it anyway. No, I can't do that to Miss Bates. I was gonna put her with Lady Russell, but I feel like that wouldn't be fair.
No, I mean, listen, that would make her rich, but I don't think that's the right match.
Not in terms of like.
I would want Mrs. Bates with Mrs. Jennings.
That would be
From
fun.
Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah.
Older lady, love Mrs. Jennings, has the time but all the money, and she's bored and a little lonely.
Yeah.
And Ms. Bates could use a friend and someone who enjoys talking as much as her.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Mel ran out of room for the length of the side that she has almost.
You had my piece over there.
What?
That's this piece was over there.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Now I'm rocking and rolling, but I'm out of space.
Oh no!
Oh, we can move the box.
Okay.
You can put the computer on the box if you want.
Yes. And Mel, I have
That's
so
a good
many
idea.
more pieces here. I'm
Wow.
just clearing the deck.
Amazing.
Hello.
Yes, please.
No.
Okay. Oh, I love this question from Faith R. Adams.
Okay.
Who's winning the fist fight? Captain Wentworth versus Colonel Brandon?
Captain Wentworth.
I have to agree. I feel like he's just more quick to anger.
Yeah.
However, depending on the circumstances of the fist fight, I do think that Colonel Brandon, if he were angry enough, could whoop his ass.
I think so. I think like on technicalities, I think there might be an even match, but I feel like Wentworth would be willing to fight dirty and Brandon would not. In the right circumstances, because Wentworth can be a rule breaker and Brandon is, well, that's not always true. That's not fair to Brandon, but he did ultimately get his life ruined by following the rules too closely, whereas Wentworth kind of said, screw your rules and made his own way in the world.
Right. But I love that question.
Love it.
Okay. Which female heroine in Jane Austen is most gay? Emma and Jane Fairfax.
Emma Woodhouse is
So gay.
definitely, I mean, she might have a pinch of enjoyment of men, and like that's the piece of her that falls in love with Knightley.
I mean,
So I don't question that, but like the like level of devotion she has to women in particular is
she's very gay.
yeah.
Mary is also incredibly queer.
That's true, but she's not a protagonist. Is she?
I guess she's
Because
not
if
a
we're-
protagonist.
If we're going broader, then
She's not a
Charlotte
heroine.
Lucas.
Oh yeah, okay. So, but we were talking about like the heroines
Yeah.
themselves. Mel, now I can't see the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
That better?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I see these things.
A seaside love story full of fun conversation.
Mr. Collins and Robert Ferrars, how dare you? But yes, these are more.
That's
of the
what they
matches.
deserve
That's
each
a
other,
match.
yeah.
They do deserve each other. Miss Bates and Mrs. Jennings, a seaside love story full of fun conversation.
Honestly, I would watch it.
Emma is a little queen. Yeah, Emma's the gayest protagonist for sure.
Yeah, and then when it comes to side characters, Charlotte Lucas.
Yeah, which like almost leads me to think that like the highest. Well, no, Emma's still the gayest book.
Yeah, Emma's gay. Pride and Prejudice is also gay. We can agree Sense and Sensibility is the straightest of the ones
Sense and
we read.
Sensibility is very straight. Well, and so far,
Persuasion is
Persuasion
extremely
is
straight too.
yeah, but it does have the good yearning.
Yeah, but the level of like sexual tension between all the opposite sex people.
It's very straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the Austen films we've seen so far, or even our favorite of the Austen films we've seen so far, ideal Muppet cast with the one character being.
I know it's cliched because it's been said online 1,000 times, but Mr. Darcy as the one Colin Firthy non-Muppet amongst Muppets in Pride and Prejudice would be iconic. I also think one could do a really good Persuasion with Anne Elliot as the one.
Yes, because she's such a straight man.
Yeah.
Okay, Sense and Sensibility, 1995, with Alan Rickman as the only human.
Oh, I love him.
And he's just looking around at all his little Muppets.
Taking care of everyone.
Taking care of everyone.
I love him.
And Elizabeth and Eleanor is played by I don't know, but Marianne's Miss Piggy.
100%.
Yeah.
But because I do feel like Edward Ferrars is Kermit.
It's perfect. No notes.
Can you confirm that? Sorry.
Oh, they say human Darcy, human Eddie.
Is every piece that's in the box definitely not an edge piece?
No,
I
Not
tried to
confirmed.
only put edge pieces in the box.
but we
Or-
can't confirm that for sure.
But
You
here,
mean middle pieces?
middle, yeah, only non-edge
Looking
pieces
for
in
this
the box.
piece. Okay.
Oh, it might be under here.
check the box.
Check the box.
Okay.
All right, what do we got next?
Really quick, where does this belong?
I think probably.
What is it?
Oh no, not there.
I think it's at
It's
the
that.
top.
It's that.
Oh, it's on that side. Okay.
It's under the red.
gorge.
So
Totally
it's
gorge.
over.
Okay.
So beautiful.
Okay. Do any of Austen's quotes or phrases, any phrases of Austen's or quotes, leak over into our real lives?
It is the truth you know universally acknowledge you, and I say that to each other ironically a lot.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if you look at our coasters, it says, if I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more. But I think more so phrases from our podcast leak over into our real lives because we're
100%.
huge dorks.
Yep.
And so we're always like, I will neither confirm nor deny.
That's a big one. We say that to each other constantly.
Or like it's in the title. The
Yep.
same ones that probably leak over into your lives
Yep.
that you say to us sometimes, like we say to each other.
Yep.
Because also like our podcast is just us talking like how we talk.
Yes, it is a very accurate encapsulation of how we actually converse with each other. This is organic.
Yeah.
Can I share a funny story about that?
Mel
Oh,
would like
yes,
to share.
sure.
Can I have a little more of the rosé?
A guest
Of
story.
course.
So
Melody, would you like some rosé?
no, thank you. I'm okay. Molly, when I was first dating Molly, like this was probably like 3 days in, she just, without any context, sent me the graphic for the Eleanor Dashwood is a
Goddamn liar.
and I was like, I have no idea what this is. I'm gonna Google it. And so I was on Google for a solid 15 minutes trying to be like research, be like, I want to come back with a smart reply, and like I should obviously know what this is. That she sent this to me, and I like could not find anything. So I was just like, cool graphic. And then later I was like, now I've learned that that's the thing about Molly, where she'll just like the context is missing. She'll just say somebody's name as if you know exactly who she's talking about. She's like, oh, that's just some guy I know from 4th grade. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, that's a funny mention of that, where it's just like, the assumption is that we all know.
Yeah, very big shouts to both of our partners who spent a lot of time getting to know Jane Austen for our sakes.
For specifically for their April Fool's episode about us. Are you reading the comments?
Yeah.
What are
Yeah,
they saying?
I was just reading. No, I just started.
I want the lasagna to be in my life more. Maybe on a coffee mug. Something is growing in the lasagna.
Things are beginning to grow in the lasagna.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it. I've gotten into painting. I don't know if you all know. If you follow my personal Instagram account, you'll see that I have gotten into painting. So now I'm an artiste, and I will draw a lasagna and put it on a
Make
coffee
it a
mug.
smelly one though, because things are beginning to grow in the lasagna implies.
Oh yeah, of course. And then what else do we
smelly
have?
Lasagna.
Could be funny to do a Muppets version where only the stuffy characters are human. Imagine Lady Catherine being snooty in a room full of puppets.
That'd be really good.
Marianne is so Miss Kitty. Miss Piggy, oh my god. Klaus says the economics of insert here in any situation.
Oh yeah.
It's in the title. Giggle Snort uses
Graham,
all
the
time.
sound effect.
Oh my god, I love the idea of you guys just going around and saying Graham, the sound effect.
I love it.
Which, by the way, Graham is at a soup party tonight, which is why he's unable to attend, which is the most Graham thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, for those of you who may not have gotten a sense of who Graham is as a person, that is all you needed to know.
Yeah. Which, like, I want to go to a soup party.
I mean, that sounds fun.
Okay. Liliana asks, any favorite or noticeable costumes, accessories, or hairstyles from the adaptations you've seen?
I mean, the Emma 2020 is pretty unparalleled.
I love the costumes in Emma 2020. My first thought was Harriet's curly hair from the 2008
2008.
2008/9 Emma.
Great pick. I really enjoy. I mean, Jane Austen adaptations. Part of the fun is watching them for the like aesthetics. I would let's see, like, yeah, Emma 2020 jumps out.
Emma 2020 is very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, so it was 2005 Pride and Prejudice.
2005 Pride and Prejudice is more aesthetically pleasing for like the scenery.
That's true.
and
The costumes are kind of a nightmare.
The costume, I mean, they're pretty, but they're just like not my favorite thing to look at. Although I do love Elizabeth's hair with the pearls in it, which I know a lot of people hate because it's like
Not a
butterfly
fan.
clips.
Not a fan.
Yeah. Amber's hair in Clueless is a choice.
Oh my god, you know what? I take it all back. If we're including like late, like modern adaptations, it has to be
Clueless costumes.
Clueless. That is a perfectly costumed movie. I would not change a single thing. Christian, what do you think of Amber? Hagsville. Love.
Oh, Ewan McGregor in 1996.
No.
And we'll drink to that. Cammy Quiz. I'm gonna stop saying the Instagram handles.
Yeah.
A friend asks, who is the ultimate dream date from fiction, Austen or otherwise?
I mean, we've seen some pretty dreamy men in Jane Austen's work.
My dream date in Austen is Mr. Knightley.
Yeah, he's pretty dreamy.
He's so hot.
But I think in literature writ large, there's probably also more dreamy men to discuss.
Or women.
Or women. Or people of all genders.
Yeah. What is the book that I've been like, oh my god, I have a crush on that person?
The guy from House in the Cerulean Sea is pretty dreamy.
Arthur? So here's the thing, everyone. I have something to admit about House in the Cerulean Sea. I read it the first time physically, and then I listened to the audiobook, and apologies to anyone who hasn't read any TJ Klune because I'm about to go off for a second.
So I listened spoilers for like 5 minutes.
I won't do any spoilers, but I listened to the audiobook of Under the Whispering Door, and I loved it. And it's the same narrator, but for some reason, him narrating Under the Whispering Door and him narrating House in the Cerulean Sea is very different because House in the Cerulean Sea is a lot of children and like there's like just more characters. And his voice for Arthur is just like not hot. And I was like really attracted to Arthur when I was reading the book. And his voice for Arthur is just like
devastating.
Oh! I can't get behind it. But it is still like my heart does flutter.
Aww.
Yeah, I think well, I mean, but for on the subject of TJ Klune, the person who runs the tea shop in Under the Whispering Door. TJ Klune's books are so wonderful.
He writes really wonderful romance.
Yeah, and just like pure, and the worlds that he builds. And I was talking about this last night. In addition to his like very pure books about like magical beings in the real world, he also writes werewolf porn. And I also really like that.
Yeah, teamwork. Oh, this is really close.
I lost both of them while I was talking about werewolf porn, and my mom is on this call.
Yes.
Here's a pitch. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Rolu asks, of the books so far, which Austen character do we relate to the most, and who would we most want to date? So okay, we've answered the dating question,
Knightley.
Mr. Knightley. Who do we relate to the most?
Eleanor Dashwood.
She's still Eleanor Dashwood.
Yeah, because I also am really bad. I am also a goddamn liar when it comes to my feelings. And I am the like sensible like member of my family, if you can't tell from the mom energy. So I relate to being the practical like one who also insistently must hide my crushes lest they find out I ever actually liked them, no matter how they actually feel. Which Mike thinks is really funny because I'm very open with him, but he forced me to be. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm definitely a Marianne. That's like, I feel like they're also very good because they show two sides of a coin.
I love them.
So I really do relate to Marianne. And so I've really, despite being really mad at her for a while now, I do relate to Anne Elliot.
Yeah. I also
got a lot of feelings.
Yeah, we've all been there with an ex. I also
glasses just won't get.
Yeah. I also should say, like, in terms of dating, I have to give shouts once again to the fact that I
Bingley.
am dating. I'm engaged to Bingley.
Yeah.
Like, that's who I am engaged to.
Yeah.
Mike is curly haired and sunshine.
Yeah, and I do think that I would have a crush on Emma Woodhouse if like I met Emma Woodhouse in the wild.
Do you relate to Emma?
Not 1 ounce. And although I feel like I have a good. I don't know. I feel like I could match people up if it was requested. I could be like,
but that's not like her personality trait.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
You're
think, I
not
don't
so
think I am.
meddlesome. I'm more Emma than you.
Yeah, I don't think I'm very.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's all good.
Okay, Liliana asks, which family from the books would you most like to be a part of? Would you like to be the sixth Bennett sister or maybe the Crofts' adopted child? You know us too well.
Yeah, it'd be the cross.
I
wanna
would
be in
want
that
to also be
marriage.
part of the Gardners family as well. The
Yeah,
Crofts and the Gardners are like the two families that I just want to like.
because they're like happy and reasonable.
Yeah. And I think. Yeah, I think that the Dashwoods and the Bennets are just there's too many of them.
I feel like with the Dashwoods, like now that they're like comfortable, it'd be chill to be part of that family again.
I would like to hang out with Margaret.
You know, yeah.
And I would like to have Eddie as a brother.
Yeah, that'd be pretty chill.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely the Crofts and the Gardners.
Yes,
Found it.
we're almost there on the bottom.
Clow always says, I am Lizzie, Sun, Darcy Moon, and Eleanor Rising. That's a good way to think about it. I always say that I'm a Jess Day Sun, a Nick Miller Moon, and a Winston Rising.
Oh.
I think Mike is just Winston. As well.
Winston's the most relatable character
I
in the world.
love
And
Winston.
justice for Margaret. Okay. Who is the most overrated Austen leading man?
Is that it?
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay.
Here.
Who is the most overrated Austen leading man?
We're so close.
Okay, so here's the thing. What's the most famous Austen book?
Don't say that. You're gonna cause sparking outrage.
Becca's gonna help me not
I'm preempting.
dig your
I'm
grave.
going to walk you back gently
I
from
feel
this
like Pride and
take.
Prejudice is the most famous.
No, it is. Becca's telling me not to go there.
I am begging her not to say Mr. Darcy is overrated, which is what she was about to say.
I love Mr. Darcy. I do.
I think I'm gonna hold my fire because there's an obvious answer and Molly ain't there.
So far in Persuasion, I think that Wentworth has some growing to do, and I'm not like 100% there yet with him. So I don't think that he's. I feel like people like him, and I think he's hot. But so far, I'm not. Get on top of your shit.
Get your shit together, Wentworth.
People want the drama, though. People want me to say that Darcy's overrated.
Oh no!
I'm not gonna do it.
I'm gonna save you from saying something you're gonna regret
Okay.
later.
Sarah says,
Edward.
Mr. Darcy is the highest rated, so he is the best contender for being overrated. That's all I was gonna say. Sarah said it for me.
Okay.
You thought I was gonna say Edward.
Yeah. Yeah, or is he appropriately rated?
He's appropriately rated. I don't think anyone's like, oh, Edward. Woo-hoo-hoo.
I mean, when Hugh Grant's playing Edward or Dan Stevens,
Okay, when Dan Stevens is playing Edward, maybe he's overrated because he's so hot.
he's very hot.
Okay. Nesco Graphics asks, this is a fun question. Okay. If you had to mix a cocktail for every previous Austen heroine, what would be the ingredients?
Gin martini for Lizzie Bennett.
Okay, Lizzie Bennett is a gin martini. I'm adding in some elderflower liqueur into this.
Yeah, okay.
Into the mix. So like an elderflower gin martini for Lizzie Bennett. Let's do Marianne and Eleanor. Oh wait, do we want to do Jane too then? Or
Yeah, let's do Jane.
Okay. Oh, Jane is a glass of wine.
Oh, I was gonna say like a cosmopolitan, but I think you're right. I think you're right because the cosmopolitan's more Emma Woodhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Should we make Charlotte a Tom Collins?
But
Oh no, she hates it.
no, that was good. It was good. It was a dad joke, but it was good. Okay.
Ooh, we're close.
They're being so productive on this.
We need one piece right here, and then we just need two pieces right here,
We're
and then the
super
whole end of the edges
close.
are done.
We're almost done with the edges, and then we'll like flip it so you guys can see.
Oh, we was loose.
Okay.
Did you guys just hear that? No, it was we was loose because I said we were almost done, and I'm not helping at all.
Found one.
Woo!
Okay, so far we've got Pride and Prejudice sorted. Now we're on, and we've got Emma sorted because she's a cosmopolitan. Sense and Sensibility. Marianne is we have like flavors of the sea. She's got like salt. And
Okay. So we're talking about like a seafaring drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be like a. When I was in Greece, there was a drink called the Tears of Chios, which was I have no idea what was in it,
but
it
there's
was,
tears, so
it was the best drink I've ever had. It's delicious. If anybody knows what's in that drink, please drop it in the comments. But it is a
our puzzle hour. My puzzle progress is impressive.
guys.
Thank you,
Is
Lauren.
Molly killing this puzzle?
Okay, Tears of
Chios for
Yes.
it was like slightly sweet, but very like seafaring because you have to have it on the beach, and it had frozen grapes in it.
Okay, all right, I like that. I feel like I feel like I want like a salt rim,
Margarita.
but that doesn't fit.
Because I was gonna say before you said the sea, I was gonna say a jalapeno infused margarita.
Okay, Marianne's a heart jalapeno infused margarita. That does fit. I'm sorry I said it doesn't fit. I shut that down and I didn't mean to. Eleanor.
None taken.
Eleanor is like a tears.
Oh, I was gonna go with a whiskey sour.
Like she's just sitting at the bar and crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harriet.
She's subdued.
Harriet is having a
Blue curacao.
yes.
I've been waiting for the moment to use it.
And Anne, Anne is having a really old scotch on the rocks.
Anne
a
has been saving
aged
this
scotch.
She has been saving this scotch.
It's been on the shelf for years.
8 of them, to be precise. She bought it and she was like, "We're gonna drink this on our 1-year anniversary," and then 8 years passed, and then she like pours it sadly, not even on the rocks, just like straight into a glass, and she's just sipping.
Yep.
All right, that was a fun question. Thank you.
I
Okay.
can't find these edge pieces.
It's okay. We've got like 2 left now.
That's why I
We
can't find them.
But we can start building out, I think, at this point.
Oh.
All
You're
right.
When you're right, you're right.
Too deep.
I think we can try if
All
you
right.
want to.
Okay. I asked Becca if this was too deep because I was like not sure how revealing we wanted to be in this moment.
I mean, we can be very careful.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I don't know. All right, let's try it. Austen nemesis situations of our pasts. Like, who is our Jane Fairfax, Wickham, Lady Catherine de Bourgh in our lives?
Oh God. Well, I'm not going to get detailed on those things.
We won't dox anyone.
No, we're certainly not going to dox anyone, nor are we going to get too deep in the weeds. But I think we can say
Harriet is a Shirley Temple.
I was going to say a Paloma, but a Shirley Temple's way more perfect.
And no ice for Anne because she has no chill. Yes. Okay.
I guess I'll say I've been in a Lucy Steele situation before, and it's the worst.
As if you were the one.
I was
who
the
wasn't-
Eleanor.
You were the Eleanor.
Oh yeah.
I guess maybe my Lady Catherine de Bourgh was my high school boyfriend's mom.
Ooh.
She wasn't
spicy.
uppity or anything, but I just felt like she didn't like me. But I know that she does now.
So I thought she hated me, and she didn't.
Well, she might have hated me at the time. I do think that she thought I wasn't good enough for her son.
But now it's all chill.
But now
now they're happily married.
Well, now me and her son are happily married. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't had any. I can't think of. Oh. Well.
It sounds like we should stick a pin in that one.
Let's stick a pin in it. Okay.
We're having a little too much wine.
No. Okay. So Adriana asks, how would we rank the Austens we've read, and where do we think Persuasion will be? Should we
I
go
am
from the-
going to refrain from answering that because we're not at the end of the book,
Sure.
and I don't want to give away to Molly where it ranks for me.
Okay. I'll do my ranking. And I know that I do this every time.
So you're gonna rank them in reverse order for what we read?
Yeah.
So it goes Persuasion, Emma, Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
I don't know. I like each one better than the last.
I think that's definitely like we're doing it in a good order with a good flow, but I also think it's very much like you're getting to appreciate Jane Austen more and more with each book.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Favorite character overall, and also to kind of go with that, these are a couple questions smushed together. Who is our favorite female character and our favorite male character
Ooh,
in the Austen world so far?
that's a good question.
And then, like, which one is our favorite overall?
I'm gonna give favorite male to it's a toss. I think it's gotta be Knightley, but
He's also my favorite.
Colonel Brandon's close.
Knightley's my favorite man.
And then for favorite woman, it might be Marianne Dashwood for me
Mm.
in terms of like a character that I just like feel for.
Mhm.
But I might have to give it to Lizzie Bennet
Okay.
because I do love her.
For those who couldn't hear Becca's mumble, she said Lizzie Bennet.
Yeah, I know it's cliched, but she's like one of the great, like, she is a marvel of a character. She's just incredible. I love all of our characters truly though. Like it's difficult, it's genuinely difficult to choose. And I'm like, that's who jumped to mind immediately. But I'm sure if I thought about it for longer, I would have like really surefire answers that were
Mhm.
different.
Yeah, I think my favorite female character, I mean,
Mel, can you have the picture of the puzzle back?
Oh, it's right there.
Oh, fab.
But I can move it closer.
no, that's good. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
My favorite female protagonist is probably, I like Emma's arc.
Emma has a fantastic
She's a
arc.
really good arc.
Such a
And
good
then
arc.
My favorite like side character, which I think is another question someone asked, so I'll answer it now, is probably either the Crofts or like Mrs. Jennings.
I love the Crofts. They're so good.
They're so good. Eleanor Dashwood is a goddamn liar.
Mm.
And my favorite like overall character in all of Austen. That's so hard. I mean, I guess if it's one of the three that I've named. Mr. Knightley?
Oh, found an edge.
Yay!
Yes, it's this one.
Oh, good. Okay.
Are we done with the
No,
No,
There's, like,
we're almost done with the frame.
Are we
There's like
missing some edge pieces?
there's like
Yeah.
one.
There's like one or two missing.
Okay, we're missing
Yeah, there's just
one
one.
edge piece.
It might be in here. I found a few. in
Should we leave Molly to do the rest of the puzzle by herself?
I'm
Well,
gonna
no
tap
one-
out in a second
I'm
anyway.
gonna be able to read you the questions. So
Yeah.
Wow.
okay. What is your favorite? Oh, I feel like I know this one, but maybe not. Your favorite Austen performance so far from the series / movies? I have a couple. But
I mean,
what's your favorite?
Alan Rickman as Colonel Brandon. for
Oh,
me.
that wasn't what I was gonna say.
What?
Well, Michael Gambon
Michael Gambon as Mr. Woodhouse is good.
and
Bill Nye as Mr.
Romola
Woodhouse.
Garai,
Romola Garai as Emma is excellent.
phenomenal.
But for me, it's Alan Rickman as Colonel Brandon. Like I get teary-eyed thinking about his performance in that movie.
He's really good in that movie. Yeah, mine's Romola Garai. I think she's so good
Stunning.
as Emma. She's like a perfect Emma.
We've been so lucky watching all these movies in a row. Like it really hits you when you like watch them all over the course of like the time we've been doing the podcast, like how good so many of these performances are. Like actors love doing this work because the characters are so rich.
Yeah.
And you can tell and it makes for really good stories.
Okay. Another character related question. Shoshana asks, which character do we each, 1, relate to the most, which I think we answered, 2, think would be the most fun to be, and 3, most love to hate?
I think we answered who
We answered 1.
Wouldn't it be fun to be Emma Woodhouse?
I think it would be fun to be Emma Woodhouse. I think it would be fun to be... I think it would be fun to be Lydia because she doesn't give any fucks.
Hard disagree because she ends up married to Wickham.
I would make different choices if I were her.
Yeah.
And then most love to hate Lucy Steele.
I don't even hate Lucy. She's too good. Augusta.
Becca does love to hate Augusta.
I hate that woman. She's so deliciously awful.
Yeah, I think. I do like to hate her. I love to hate. I love to hate on our men also.
I mean, Mr.
Willoughby,
Elton.
Mr. Elton. Love to hate him.
Willoughby is fun because he's just like a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's.
Augusta is the perfect love to hate choice.
Oh, God, yeah.
Lucy is such a psychological masterpiece.
Chef's kiss to Jane Austen for writing Lucy Steele.
Okay, I love this question. Abby asks, so of the Austen adaptations we've watched so far, which is your least favorite? I know mine.
I know mine too.
Mine is the 1996 Emma, starring our esteemed, whatever her name is.
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale.
Mine is far and away the Gwyneth Paltrow 1995 Emma.
There's so many Emmas to hate.
There's so many Emmas, period, and they're like, there's a lot of Emma's a delicate character to bring to screen because she's such a good character, but she's so close to bad.
I see that, Lauren.
What'd you say?
2005 PNP, don't at me.
Yeah, no, don't. Respect to the people who have different opinions on the 2005 PNP. I don't think either one of us would say we dislike that movie at all. We both really enjoy it. But yeah, for us, it's we both think those Emmas are pretty bad. I don't mind the 96 Emma as much as you do. For me, it's obviously the Gwyneth. I think Gwyneth is a bad Emma, and I don't like her performance.
This is a question for me. What is the most surprising or just my favorite fact I've learned about the Regency era English society that I've learned so far? I don't know why the thing that comes to mind is like the scene in Pride and Prejudice where Lydia and Kitty go to pick up Lizzie and they have like the pickled.
Oh my God, that is a fun scene.
I don't like. Is that what they ate? We talked about this 3 years ago or however, like 5 years ago now, I guess, almost 5 years ago, because this was probably like a year in. Like, what was that all about? It was like a charcuterie board, I guess. I think the calling cards also, like, I've finally started to understand, this isn't surprising, it's just like something I've learned. But I finally started to understand the process of like, you go and call on someone, you leave a card, then they come back and they call on you, and like the decorum of that. So I don't know if that's surprising or not.
It's fun. It's like, I love how prescribed social interactions were. I mean, listen, It sounds like it was terrible in the time, but there's no such thing as mixed signals in the Austen world, and if you do give mixed signals, it's on the man, which is good.
Yeah. Okay. That is all of those questions in that section. Now it's time for our in reflection.
Okay.
Which is looking back on the last 5 years.
Ooh, okay.
So Caitlin asks, what's the Insta post / tweet / meme that you're most proud of? And I think I know what it is.
Okay.
Because it's the first one that I like really spent time on. And it was when it was going around, yeah, I know NFTs. And it was, or NFTs. What is an NFT? Yeah, I know NFTs. And then it was like, in vain I have struggled, it will not do. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you, or whatever. No, it wasn't in vain I have struggled. Fuck, wait, I did it wrong. You have bewitched me. How does it go? I did the wrong
bewitched
quote.
me body and soul, and I love you.
But like the N started with shit. Anyway, you get it. And then it was a picture of Mr. Darcy, and it was like on the blue background. That was my favorite. Like that was one that like was widely circulated, and I felt very proud of having created it.
Yeah. Also the one Taylor Tomlinson retweeted.
Which one was that again?
This is gonna ruin the tour. What tour? The world tour.
That was a good one. That was more recent. And I have a goal for 2025, I guess, because this year's almost over, to get back into making reels and to like get on TikTok, because we do have a TikTok. Follow our TikTok. We don't post on it. We'll get there. But that's a goal that I have because I feel like I had a lot of time for that during the pandemic, and now I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So I would like to like start making time for that because it's fun. Okay, Emily Syrup asks, what would you tell yourselves from 5 years ago if you could?
This is going to be a really joyful experience in your life, and trust the process, trust Molly. And yeah, I thought that was right. And you know, double check the Insta Live before you start.
I would tell myself to not worry so much. I still have to tell myself this, but to not worry so much about like what will people think and about like getting it exactly right, and don't worry that like every little thing you do is going to make everyone stop listening to the podcast. Yeah, I would just like tell myself to enjoy it, and like this is like a fun thing, and like to keep it fun, because there was a time when I was like really stressed about it, and I had to have a come to Jesus moment where I sat down, and I think Mel, you sat me down. Was it you? It
Sounds like something
one of
I
us.
would
I
do.
think it was one of us.
It was one of them. They sat me down and they were like, remember that why you started this podcast? It's supposed to be fun. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. And
yeah.
So I wish that I like always remembered that, but also part of me is glad that I had that come to Jesus moment, because it's allowed me to have more fun with
You
it.
guys are so sweet.
What did I say?
You could never
Oh,
tell the
you
story.
guys. It's very sweet. Okay, please cut the lights asks Molly, if I have thought differently about relationships and people in my life since reading Austen. There have definitely been some things in Austen that like have affected the way I think about things. I don't know if like it's particularly changed any relationships in my life. Especially because I feel like a lot of it's based on decorum and stuff that isn't really like relevant nowadays. But there have been a lot of really good quotes and things that have stuck with me. And like her outlook on love and life and friendship is really special and important. And yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Would you like to share if you've had any? You've already read Austen, but like, has anything been reinforced for you?
Oh, I mean, the brilliance of her writing. When you're reading it, but it's like I get so much more out of these books doing this podcast than I did just reading them. So I have a much deeper appreciation and affection for the books than I even did before.
Yeah. Becca, this question's for you. Has doing the pod with me changed any of your, this is kind of similar, but has it changed any of your views, opinions, stances that you had going in about Jane Austen?
I don't know if I'd say like stances I had.
Has your mind been changed about anything relating to Austen?
That's a good question. I don't think like anything has like changed so far as like I have a very similar opinion of Jane Austen, like more like generally, but I think my emotional connection to Jane Austen is deeper than it was when I started.
Yeah.
So like I've always really enjoyed the books. I think they're fun, and like a lot of the adaptations are sort of comfort watches, obviously, like all of you. But for me, I think reigniting a connection I had with Jane Austen and making it so much deeper than it was before has been really special. And now, like, I don't think there will be a time in my life where I'm not like participating in Austen content. Whereas before, like, it was like an in and out thing. Like I would, read a book and then watch a bunch of adaptations and then take a break, read a book, watch a bunch of adaptations, take a break. Now it's like constantly, like there's an undercurrent of Jane Austen in my life. And I think I have a much deeper well of knowledge. Like if you hear me season 1 of this podcast versus now, like you can see like I'm building on like a more consistent Austen practice in my life.
Mhm.
So I think I have more a deep connection and understanding to her work than I did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been reading Jane Austen content for 5 years.
Yeah, I have to say, I cannot wait for the time when we've finally completed all of her works and like read everything and seen most of the things where I can like look stuff up and participate in the dialogues. I can already mostly participate in a lot of dialogues, but I try to avoid some, like, I try to avoid Jane Austen spaces online.
Well, once you've read Persuasion, the other two that we're reading are not quite as popular. So,
Mhm.
like, I think you can kind of get.
Well, don't tell our listeners that they love Northanger Abbey.
I mean, Northanger Abbey is popular, but not the way Persuasion is.
Right. I'm loving Persuasion, you guys.
Really, I couldn't tell. We're recording an episode tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Okay. Emily Ann Kennedy asks, weirdest door the podcast has opened for you?
Getting like there are so many weird doors it's open. Like we've become friends with a lot of people in the podcast community,
Which has been awesome. Not a weird door per se, but like, I mean, you've been on Percy Jackson podcast.
Yeah.
We've both been on Lord of the Rings podcast, which has nothing to do with Jane Austen, but like it has definitely opened those doors.
Like the podcasters we used to like listen to are now our friends,
Which is awesome.
And the that's been a weird door. There's been a lot of opportunity to like talk to really incredible authors who are like playing around in the Jane Austen pool.
Oh my god, the fact that like getting a shout out in the like thank you section of Audrey and Emily's book of Elizabeth of East Hampton,
huge for us,
massive.
Yeah.
And they were really sweet to us and were like, well, you guys inspired us, and we were like,
it's always very like it's very flattering, very sweet when we hear people like who are excited about like what we're doing, and we're excited about what they're doing, and that's been like a huge portion of it.
And just feels like so weird and good. Like it feels good, but it's also weird because it's like, well, we felt like we were just breaking into this space. I had like a call with podcasters like talking about like they wanted advice about podcasting, and I was like, well, that's weird because I can tell you what I've done, but like I don't actually know anything about anything.
One of our friends is married to a pretty like well-known drummer, and
oh my god, that was crazy. Can you tell the story?
So one of our friends is married to a pretty well-known drummer, and he was like, I want my band to start a podcast, and I don't know anything about podcasting, and she told me to reach out to you, and I was like, oh, you should really talk to Molly because she does much more of the production stuff. And I was like, hey, Molly, can you talk to Haley's husband?
And I was like, well, I didn't. She said he's in a band. And I was like, okay, great.
And then she texted me. She's like, you didn't tell me.
Because I love his band and like completely independently of knowing that he was in that band, because I didn't know that he was in that band until now. Until that point. So that was crazy. That was an awesome door.
But like we've become experts in a certain area that people ask us about.
Experts.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm technically an expert in a different area.
Yeah. Experts, listen, we're experts enough that people asked us for advice, and that's the weirdest door that's been open. Also, like some of the like companies, like the fact that we have this puzzle and it was free, that's also weird.
It's a good puzzle.
It's a great puzzle.
What would you know, Molly? God, that was pretty good.
That was a good one, but I'm looking diligently for this last end piece. And you want to know what? Becca probably dropped it on the floor.
I did. I won't lie. It's a possibility.
Oh my god, really?
Oh my god, you did. It's literally right here. I found it.
Molly did it. Somebody
dropped it on the floor.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's probably not me if it's over there.
No, it rolls. Pieces
so
roll.
Oh my god.
We did it.
Oh my god, guys, we
The
finished
edges are
the
done.
frame.
All right, show them the edge.
The edge of glory. Wow. Becca and I were also doing some damage right here for a while, so
Yeah,
well, I can help that.
pretty proud.
Was that our last question?
No.
My section.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. Okay. This is probably right there. Okay. Becca. Oh, wait. Hang on. I skipped one. Okay. I skipped two. All right. Alyssa Explores the World asks, how have you grown personally as a result of doing this pod over the past 5 years? For me, I've learned a lot about myself and time management, and I've taught myself a lot of skills, and I've learned about like communicating via email. I've learned all sorts of things, but mostly I feel like I've learned that what I have to offer the world is enough, and that I can like just bring me to the table, and that will be interesting.
And that'll be enough. That's definitely true. You are enough.
Thank you. What have you learned about yourself, or how have you grown?
Oh, I mean, I've learned that, you know, yeah, I think what you said. I mean, for one thing, I've learned like it's been very moving to me to like see people say that our podcast has been like comforting to them or helpful to them in some way. I love the idea that like I've learned that like so like there's a lot of things you can do in the world to help people out, and I'm a believer that you should leave a net positive on the world no matter what you do. And it never fully occurred to me that, you know, just giving people a little bit of joy through Jane Austen content could be part of putting good out into the world. And it has been one of like my favorite things about the podcast to hear from people saying, hey, I was really sad and I found you guys and you made me feel less sad, which people have said to us in numerous different forms. So I think that I've learned to be really grateful to be able to connect with people through Jane Austen and through this podcast. It's been really, really nice.
Yeah, that makes me think of a story that might be kind of sad, but I'll tell it anyway. My dad, well, actually, like through this during this podcast, my dad passed away in 2020, and before he died, I've told this story before, I'm sure, but he like came in and he came into my room and I was like crying because I was feeling like I wasn't doing enough in the world, which like also it was literally the middle of a pandemic, and I was like complaining that I wasn't doing enough, and that was insane of me. But he came in and he was like, if you can change one person's mind with your writing or like make one person happy with your podcast, then you'll be doing something that's important. And I was particularly worried that I wasn't being political enough because it was obviously a tough time. And he was like creating art is inherently political, and like what you're doing is important, because if you can make one person's life a little bit better, or like change their mind about something for the better, then you're doing important work. And at one of our live shows, like someone came up and like told me, like people have told us this all the time, but like one person came up and was like, you really got me through a tough time.
Yeah. And
I was just like, that this is basically what you've said also, but this is my experience of it, that we've made a net good impact and like done something good for the world, and by helping like at least one person get through a tough time, it feels really good.
Yeah. And that's humbling and really like something that I take seriously. Like, we take seriously is that like people, you know, have found joy in our work. That's something like we have fun and we're not serious, but we're serious about that.
Yeah. So, okay. What is our favorite part of the podcast process?
Oh, recording.
Recording is very fun.
Yeah.
As much as I love recording, I've learned a new skill in editing podcasts,
which I have not learned.
and it's been really fun. I really enjoy editing because it like makes me feel like I'm all right. This is gonna sound bad because I'm not helping with the puzzle, but it feels like I'm doing a puzzle. I love puzzles. I do. I'm just trying to multitask. I'm trying to multitask with reading the questions and doing the puzzle. So anyway, I love doing puzzles, and editing the podcast does feel like a puzzle because, guys, we record so much material, and I try to get every episode down to like an hour 15-ish.
And we've been particularly long on Persuasion.
We talk so much. So like
there's so much to say.
At least half an hour has to get cut out each session, and
people are going to be like, well, stop cutting.
but it's
Trust
just
me, guys, you don't want to hear
you don't want.
everything
It's
you're
a lot of
saying.
like where's my spot, and or like a long pause where we have to just like think about what we're trying to say, or like, oh my god, what's that noise, and like, oh, is that Milo? Is you here? Like, anyway, so it just feels like a puzzle, and sometimes we want to hear it all. It just feels like a puzzle, and sometimes like we'll come back to something, we'll be like, oh, we're gonna cut this, but like let's come back to it, or something, or like I'll realize that Becca said something, or like I talked over her or something, and we'll come back. I'll be like, Becca, can you repeat that one thing, and then I'll put it in later, and then I'll just like splice it together, and that's been really fun for me.
Yes, and she's gotten so good at it, guys.
Thank you so much. Okay, Becca, what's been the hardest spoiler to keep from me?
The Cobb was excruciating for me because I just read it, and you didn't understand what a Cobb was. So most of this was cut from the episode, but there was like a solid chunk of the podcast before we got to the Cobb that we recorded where you were like, what's a Cobb? Like I'm picturing like this like thing next to the I was like, oh, this Cobb that I had to look up because it was crucial to the plot of the story, and I figured out exactly what it was. So that was really hard. That and Wickham, because she didn't suspect.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's a bigger reveal than what a Cobb is.
No, the Cobb was just tricky because I just read that.
Yeah, and I was just like, let's talk about it.
I also like really saw that like as a pivotal point in the book for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really interesting to read it, and I really wanted to hear what you had to say about it, and I knew it was gonna make a good episode. So like when she was like, and the Cobb, and I was like, and the Cobb.
Yeah. Okay. Kristen asks, you always ask your guests for their hot takes. So my question for you is, what are some of your hottest takes from the books you've covered so far?
Lydia was wronged. Justice for Lydia is a big one that we have and we hold on to.
I think my hottest take is still shipping Eleanor and Edward. Eleanor and Brandon.
Yeah, that's definitely a hot take.
Yeah.
I would put the I think our love for Mrs. Jennings and John Middleton is pretty hot take, because we think they're treated poorly with it. We think they're incredibly good people, and like I think they're meant to be sillier than we think they are. We think they're seriously quite good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are some hot takes.
Abby says, you've been podcasters for 5 years. What's the most rewarding part of podcasting and the most challenging? I think we've said the rewarding part.
Yeah, a lot
for
of it.
sure.
But
challenging is really just, I think, what's challenging is probably finding time to do it all.
I work a very high hours job, and that's been very difficult to balance with podcasting. But this has been a priority, and one of the things you kind of have to learn when you work a really high hours job is what's your priority, and I've made it a priority to make sure that like this podcast keeps going despite that. But if you wondered why I wasn't there for some of our book interviews, that would be why.
Yeah, and we've made it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I like read in bed, and after we get off of this call, I'm gonna go type my notes for our record tomorrow.
Yep.
Or I'm gonna try to. We'll see. I might end up doing it.
Oh
no, I'm not gonna do it at work. I'm not gonna do it at work. I swear.
No.
I'm gonna do it.
The only reason is that I will not be able to review your notes.
No, I know. Probably what's gonna happen is I'll probably do it in between my doctor's appointment tomorrow morning and like starting work.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Sarah Superstar asks, what has surprised you the most about the process of reading these books together and making this podcast? I think liking the books is a big surprise.
That was not a surprise to me. I thought you would like them.
Well, she knew I would like them.
I think having a big audience is a surprise to me, if I'm being candid.
Yeah.
Because we when we started this, we were kind of like, we're going to do this for fun. We're going to do this because we want a creative outlet, and if a couple people listen, that'll be fun. But we've been really lucky to have a lot of people listen, and that has made us feel like really excited to keep it going for you guys. And yeah, that would be for me the craziest piece of the puzzle has been, so to speak,
that
that we are popular.
Yeah, that's also a surprise to me. That doesn't actually fit there. Yeah, and I wouldn't say, I mean, liking the books as a surprise is more that, like, they're hard to read because the language is hard. And I think that that's kind of why I wanted to start the podcast in the first place, was to show that, like, even though it's hard to read, it can still be fun and, like, enjoyable and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've found a lot of joy in reading the books. For me, any plot twists that really took me by surprise. There's a plot twist coming in the next episode that we're recording that took me by surprise. Jane Austen loves to throw a wrench in things.
I don't want to spoil anything for our episode, but as a little like preview, I may or may not have predicted that one
Really?
on our Patreon episode.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that could go.
But I ended up, like, without spoiling much, I swear to God I didn't read ahead, accidentally predicting a couple of really random things.
Impressive. Okay, for you, any reactions or predictions from me that were completely unexpected?
I did not expect you to hate Darcy the way you did at first.
Well, to be fair, he's kind of an asshole.
He totally is. Not defending him, but he's so iconic as a love interest that I thought, like, you would get that he is gonna not be a jerk by the end of the book. And I was floored by how much you, like, off the bat hated him. I was like, oh my, okay, she's really gonna despise him. But I thought it was perfect for the podcast because it's like you were learning with Lizzie. You were prejudiced.
I was prejudiced against him.
Because her pride was hurt. So that was a big plot twist for me. I think also your love for Eleanor and Brandon, I should have seen it coming and I didn't.
Yeah, I guess that was it's kind of basic of me because I wanted a friends to lovers tale, and
well, you got one.
I got one.
It's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, should I blow up your spot? Let people know who you used to ship.
Tell me.
Harry.
Yes, you can blow up my spot. Blow it up.
She used to ship Harry and Hermione, so it's unsurprising.
I was definitely.
Wait, no! Oh, stop! No spoilers!
Oh my god! No, that's
I didn't say anything else.
To be fair, I should have finished it years ago. I had my time, but don't tell me.
Okay, so someone in our comments still ships Harry and Hermione. I'm sorry, I'm only seeing like every 5th comment.
I'm so sorry.
Oh wait, someone said more Milo content.
Oh, that's easy for us to give
Go
you.
outside soon. He hasn't been out since this morning.
All right, this is our last thing that we're doing. So.
All right, here
Yeah.
comes Milo.
Oh, he's like, why did you wake me up?
He said, excuse me. He's really tiny, guys. That's Milo. Milo.
He says, "Congrats on 5 years. That's only 2 years older than I am.
Milo.
Younger. 2 years younger than I am.
He's 7.
He's 7.
He says, I'm this many.
He says, I'm this many, and you're that many.
He says, I'm this many.
Milo. He says, hi, Mom. You say hi.
Okay, everyone. Puppies. Okay, that is all of our questions that we have time for because I vowed that as I have an 8 a.m. doctor's appointment tomorrow that we would not go longer than 2 hours, and we are just about there. So, cheers to 2 years.
Yeah, it's been really 5 years.
5? Oh my god, what? 2 years? We're all confused now.
Cheers to 2 hours and 5 years.
Cheers to 2 hours and 5 years.
Actually, it's probably 5 years and 2 days. Because I think their first one was on just October 18th. It was either the 18th or the 19th.
Do they want to see how far we got in the puzzle before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made it. We made some progress.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
All right, you can say your actual goodbye.
And this is so fun. I don't want to say goodbye to you guys, but I do need to go to sleep.
I need to get back to work.
And Becca needs to go back to work.
All right. But thank you guys for listening.
And until next time, stay proper.
And find yourself a dog just don't kiss your little face.
Yeah. And do a puzzle.
and celebrate 5 years.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yay! We love you.
Now we end the stream.
Ready?
Yes, Mel will do it.